It's nervous as hell. Well, thank you all for coming. And we are friends of Royden Park, for those who don't know. The park itself is roughly, the Thurston Park is roughly 250 acres. And we have the rangers who take care of the park, doing various things, taking people around, showing various things, cleaning and chopping trees, planting trees, etc. And so a big thank you to Paul, the Chief Ranger, for helping us today. Also, a big thank you to Mina and Harvey and staff at the cafe, the Barking Man Cafe. Last year, by the way, they all work at poetry, and last year they collected over £3,000 for various charities, which is excellent. Yep. A big thank you to Debbie for the beautiful music you play on the flute. It's always a pleasure to have you here, and we hope we will see you again. Yeah. And thanks again also for the Vikings, Carla and Steve, for part of the little Viking club. Reenactment group they are. Excellent show. A very, very special thanks to, I have to read this, okay, I have to make this absolutely clear, to Elizabeth-R 0482 at mns.com, affectionately known to us as Liz. This started this art group 3 years ago it was now. Tremendous work she put into it. Anyone who are future artists or people who would like to put the work in the future, please see Liz or put your name in the comic book and she'll help you as much as she can. I've never known her to turn anyone away. So please, if you're future artists, so thank you very much, Liz. Thank you. Yeah. Now we're very honoured today to have with us a P.J. Roscoe to launch her second novel, Freya's Child. Her first novel, The Echoes, which is doing very, very well. The books I bought is unbelievable. Both books are fantastic, really are, and they are an absolutely great read, and grabs you from the first page, and you do really, really, really want to carry on reading it. So without much more ado, please welcome my daughter.
Hi. Would anyone like to sit down? You're going to sit down. Okay. I would like to. I won't repeat everything that my dad said, but I would really like to make a point of thanking my dad for his help, and absolutely great big thank you to Liz. As soon as my dad and I approached her to say that this book is based not far from here, she jumped at it to say, you've got to have it here. It's just, and we've, you know, done so much work. It's an absolute pleasure to me. I've never known anyone to work so hard. It's just about yourself. And thank you for those of you who've bought raffle tickets. I think we've
made £90
odd for the Friends of Royden Park, and that's going to a good cause. They do work very, very hard to keep this place going. Without them, we wouldn't have all those lovely cups of tea and coffees and cake. I think, but I'd also like to thank my friends who support me, and never least my husband, who keeps me going when I say, no, I'm never going to do it, I'm never going to finish it. He goes, shut up and get on. Thanks for that. Okay, so without further ado, because I know it's a bit chilly, isn't it? Freya's Child. As I said, it's set in Thurston Common, which is about half a mile that way, and it centres on a fictional archaeological dig. Don't want to tell you too much because I want you all to read the book. But I started it because I wanted to ask the question, what would a parent do for their child? You'd like to think that you'd do absolutely anything you could, wouldn't you? I wanted to explore that. And that came about by the tsunami and hearing all those horrendous stories from parents who couldn't save their children for whatever reason. So I wanted to explore that. And I wanted to explore how religion and belief can change and alter your perspective. So if you absolutely believe something 100% and you've been told something all your life that this is true, and then someone else comes along and says, no it's not, this is true, what do you do? What do you believe? Where do you go? How do you know? So I wanted to explore all that as well. And I love the Vikings. So that's why it was centred around the Vikings, with it also being here, because Wirral is Viking Central, isn't it? For those of you who live here. Okay, so I'm going to read just a small extract from the book, and hopefully it'll be a piece that won't give too much of the game away. And then you can ask me questions. But don't ask me anything that's going to tell you what the story's about. Can you hear me at the back? Yeah. Astrid watched Darla standing in front of the fire. Her heart hammered against her chest, and fear flooded her veins. Her child had hardly made any sound since being born. Even now she lay quietly in her arms, fast asleep. Was this an omen? And if so, it would mean that she did indeed have a sickly child, and the goddess had decided not to allow her life. But on the other hand, only one half of the placenta had come out, so perhaps it meant only one goddess was pleased. She looked down at her sleeping daughter and knew that she would fight and kill anyone who harmed her. She was also aware of what that might mean. Einar had not seen his child yet. Would he accept her, or would she have to fight him too? She prayed silently to the Christian God that she would not have to fight her husband, because if he denied their daughter, she knew beyond doubt that both she and her child would be leaving this night. She silently watched as the women began clearing away the blankets and rags, now covered in her mess. Everyone kept their eyes lowered. Some whispered knowingly, but none looked at her, or Darla, who had not moved from the fireplace. She remained silent, her back to the room. Astrid hoped more than anything that she was praying to her goddess. They listened to the midwives, for weren't they the bringers of life? Were they not granted the knowledge of birth and all its mysteries? She stared hard at Darla's back, willing her to beg her gods for mercy, and prayed with all her heart that today they would listen. Einar opened his eyes and stared drunkenly at the boar's head that sat in the middle of the long wooden table. It was inches away, its snout almost touching his nose. He flinched backwards and felt the room spin slightly with the movement. He became aware that someone was standing next to him calling his name, and he slowly turned his head to look up. "Aha, you are awake now!" His friend Thorlak playfully slapped him on the back. "We thought you had gone to the gods without us, old friend." Before Einar could reply, he was roughly pulled to his feet and turned towards the hall. His vision cleared as he focused on the woman who stood there, Darla. She stood motionless, waiting patiently for the cries and jeers to subside, which they did, and all eyes turned to Einar. He shook his head and tried to clear it and walked towards her, a little unsteadily, but he managed. She watched his approach. Her face remained blank, giving nothing away. Outwardly he tried to look calm, but inside his stomach was a knot of anxiety. How was Astrid faring? Did she still live? And what about the child? Was it a boy? All of these questions were on the tip of his tongue. He was desperate to ask, but Darla's presence told him to keep quiet for now. Her eyes never wavered from his, and slowly the hint of a smile showed on her face as he neared, which lessened the fear in his heart. Astrid was safe. She turned away from him and reached out towards another woman whom he hadn't noticed. She stood in the shadows. She carried a bundle in her arms. Darla carefully took the bundle and turned back to him. "Einar, son of Einar the Brave, I give to you your child." She held out the bundle, which he noticed hadn't moved, and fear stabbed at his heart again. Is it dead? Hesitantly, he reached out and took his child. His eyes searched hers, questioning, and she nodded. Yes, it was alive. He let out his breath and closed his eyes and silently gave thanks to Odin. He flipped back the cloth that covered his child and froze. A girl. He glanced at Darla, who was watching him intently, and for the briefest moment he didn't move. Then he took a deep breath, nodded his thanks, and exhaled loudly. He quickly glanced around the room at the large crowd, all waiting to hear his news. His decision made, he flipped back the blanket and carefully tucked it around his daughter's chin. She opened her eyes and looked up at him, and in that second, every last uncertainty left him. He gripped her tiny hand and felt such an overwhelming feeling of joy as she gripped his finger tightly. He let out a shout and turned towards his pupil. "My friends, I give to you my daughter." Shouts came from all directions with raised tankards and pitchers. Some clapped and some banged on the tables until Einar raised his voice to be heard and they quietened down. "My daughter, born of Astrid, she will be blessed with the name given to Astrid's mother. I present to you Inga, daughter of Einar." So hopefully that doesn't give too much away. Is there any questions? No one to ask? Today, a special price for the book is £9.99, and I will sign it for you if you wish. Or it's available on Amazon, or Kindles, if any of you have Kindles. If there's no questions? This is my second.
Would you have to read first?
No, it's not a series, no. The first book, Echoes, is set in Shropshire, and that's centred around the 15th century. No, there's no continuation yet.
Maybe the next one, yeah.
Maybe. No, the next one is fairy stories for young children. I promised my daughter I'd finally get round to it. And my third novel is going to be based in Skip-Felag. I won't tell you any more than that.
Watch this space.
Watch this space, yes.
Skip-Felag, did you say, Paula?
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to attempt a love story. You know me, it won't be that straightforward. Anything else? No? Okay, without further ado, if you want to buy the book, there's some over there and I'll be here if you want me to sign them. Thank you very much for coming today.
Thanks a lot.